Hey everyone, welcome to Coffee with Changemakers. I'm Robin.
And I'm Yoshi. On the Coffee with Changemakers podcast, we explore the stories of changemakers taking on some of today's biggest social and environmental challenges.
Every episode, we host an intimate conversation on social impact and leadership, where we listen, learn, and connect over a cup of coffee with inspiring guests from all over the world.
So before we jump into today's episode, we have a quick ask. If you enjoy our conversations, it would mean the world to us if you subscribe, rate, and perhaps even tell a friend about the show. Your support helps us bring even more inspiring guests onto future episodes.
So, here's today's coffee chat. Enjoy. So today we'll be speaking with Serkan, co-founder of byFood, a one-stop platform for foodie travelers in Japan, which also tackles food insecurity around the world. With byFood, you can book food experiences like cooking classes and food tours, make easy restaurant reservations, and order gourmet products from local businesses. The company also provides online experiences and videos featuring Japanese chefs, craftspeople, and neighborhoods. For a taste, I highly recommend checking out the company's popular YouTube channel, which has had millions of views as well. Now, byFood's Food for Happiness program is super interesting. It donates school meals to children in need. And as of 2024, this program has delivered over 500,000 school meals to children around the world. Serkan is a Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia Honouree and also a fellow One Young World ambassador, along with Yoshi and I as well. Yeah. There we go. Now, what I love about Serkan's story is that he has had a remarkable journey. From his youth in Turkey to studying in Germany and Japan, to leaving a corporate job to start and scale his company from scratch, to even merging companies with someone on a similar mission. So I think we have a lot to learn from this conversation. I'm super excited to welcome our guest, Serkan Toso. Serkan, how are you doing today?
Hi, it's a great introduction. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. How about you?
Very good. Thank you for joining us on a holiday, a national holiday. But you're joining with us today from Tokyo, is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Tokyo at home.
Okay, awesome. Well, maybe we can just dive right into it because I feel like we can probably talk for a long time with your background and story. But I'd love to first dig into your background, your origin story. And I'd be curious to know, what were you like as a child? What was it like growing up in Turkey, and how did you also come to Japan as well?
I'm from Bursa. It is, I think, like fourth largest city in Turkey. It is near Istanbul, 1.5 hours to Istanbul. So yeah, I studied my elementary school and high school in Turkey, in Bursa, and then later I moved to Istanbul to study my university. As a child, I think like I was quite free, I will say. We are 8 siblings.
Wow.
And I am the youngest one. And like we have a big age difference with my siblings, and when I was studying in Bursa, all of them were married, and I was quite free, I think. Like I was like my friends were like, Mom, can I go there? Can I do this? And I'm like, hey mom, I'm doing this. I'm going there. Like they're always like, okay, like, and it was quite a fun childhood.
And I heard somewhere in another interview that you were very studious. You had really good grades. Is that right?
I mean, it's true, yeah. Yeah, I mean, elementary school, high school, I was always the top student.
Wow.
And then we have a university entrance exam. Actually, like high school, I was going to vocational high school, and it is quite hard in Turkey to go to really good university from vocational high school, because you don't have much classes related to science. It is mostly focusing on like jobs. Like I was studying actually computer networking. So we have university entrance exam, and in that exam, I was like 1 million people or 1.5 million people joined my time, and I was like 2,412 exactly,
Wow.
and then I was able to enter the most prestigious university in Turkey. Yeah.
That's
Wow,
incredible.
that's
And I mean,
incredible.
so you were studying, you said computer related
Yes.
subjects, is that right?
Yeah. Computer networking. So in the school, we teach us about servers, like networking, like those kind of things. Mostly we have those vocational classes and some classes like science, etc., math, but especially last 2 years, it's mostly focusing on job, and it was it is disadvantage if you are entering the university entrance exam in that situation.
I see. And after your studies, I believe you came to Japan to do graduate school, but how was
Yes.
that? How did that unfold?
So in Turkey, when I was when I was studying in the third grade and fourth grade, I worked for a telecommunication company. It's called Turkcell. It is the largest telecommunication company in Turkey, and I was in the digital channels department, working on the company's websites, applications, and I was doing web analytics in that company. After graduation, I kept working there full time 1 year, but I also had dream to study abroad for my master's degree, and I really liked this digital area. I wanted to study something related to this digital world, and I found a degree in Japan. It's called e-business management. It's like MBA, but focusing on internet companies. And that was in International University of Japan in Niigata Prefecture. So I didn't know anything about Japan and Niigata, obviously no. But I got this scholarship and I came to Japan.
Wow.
That's so interesting.
Mm.
Now, I've been to IUJ in Niigata, and from what I remember, it's in the middle of all these rice fields, and there's people
Yes.
from all over the world in this tiny,
Yes.
tiny town. But is that the kind of experience you had?
Yeah. So it is in the middle of rice fields. Like closest combini is 30 minutes walking.
Oh, wow,
Wow.
yeah.
So it's seriously there is nothing around, but people are from many countries. It's really international environment. It's really fun, even though you don't have many things to do outside, but inside we gather, we have party, and it was quite fun. Even though we are in Japan, we didn't really feel like we were in Japan.
That's all.
Nice.
And did you study something related to, was it e-commerce there? Is that right?
Yeah, e-business management.
E-business management.
E-business.
Okay. Interesting. And that, I guess, must have had some impact on you as you began your journey towards byFood. But how did it go after university to
Mhm.
starting your own company?
Yeah. So in school, sometimes they arrange like interviews with companies or recruitment companies come help you find jobs in Japan. So one of those recruitment companies introduced me to two different companies, and then I had interview with them in one day in Tokyo, and I got job offer from both of them, and
Wow.
I selected one, and after graduation, I started working in a company building a platform to sell Japanese items globally. So like cross-border e-commerce, and I was
Mhm.
doing marketing in that company.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so you were there working full time, I assume, and were you also kind of hustling? Where did the idea for a byFood come, and how did it unfold as you were working full time? It must have been quite a commitment to do both that and start your own company as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I came to Japan, I didn't know any Japanese, And it was very challenging for me every time if I want to go to a Japanese restaurant. So everything is in Japanese. I cannot reserve restaurants because they don't have online reservation system. Or if I go to the restaurant, all the menu is in Japanese. So personally, I was having that problem. But at the same time, when I look at the data, tourism data, it's just like the highest motivation to come to Japan was eating Japanese food. So it is like about 77-80% of the people come to Japan mainly to eat Japanese food. So there is a huge motivation, but at the same time there is a big language barrier. So I thought I will start a business around that. And while I was working in that e-commerce company, I built a WordPress website focusing on food experiences in Tokyo only. I started from food experiences because, again, I didn't speak Japanese, and dealing with Japanese restaurants is so difficult, even difficult for Japanese people. So I wanted to start from easier place. Food experiences organizer usually needs to speak English because they are hosting foreigners. And so I started from there. And I didn't start all Japan, just started from Tokyo. And then, it started like that.
Right, so the company was, I believe, called Tokyo by Food. Is that right?
That's
the
correct.
original name.
TokyoByFood.com, yes.
TokyoByFood.com. And you were mostly focusing on, as you said, international travelers and residents in Japan.
Yes.
And from there, so how did it spin into byFood? And also, how did you make that leap between your corporate job and taking that huge risk of starting your own company?
It was very challenging, but I was really courageous, I think. So when I was working in that company, I only had 500,000 yen saving. But with that money,
Wow.
I just quit my job. But
Wow.
I made a deal somehow with the existing company. I said, I want to work for you part-time, and at the same time, I want to do my own company. So several months I did that, but at the same time, I was doing 2 more additional jobs on the side.
Wow.
So
Wow.
one of them was project management for a company, several hours a day, and another one was fashion e-commerce company, a Turkish company who is trying to expand into Japan, building a website for leather items, etc. So these 2 things, and then the other e-commerce company, I was doing part-time job, and the rest of the time I was focusing on my own thing. It was 4 companies at the same time. It was very challenging actually in the beginning.
Wow. I don't know how you handled all of that, but that's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, with I'm sure that, with all of your other experiences, both professional and maybe during your academic life, sort of influenced by food in one way or another. But I was wondering, did it go through several different iterations? Did the service evolve over the years, or from the beginning did you have this long-term vision where you were I want to create this marketplace where I can connect foreigners with great Japanese food?
Mhm. Actually, I had the vision from the beginning.
Wow.
I knew where I wanna go, and step by step, we did it. So it was Tokyo by Food, and then so only for food experiences. Then it
Okay.
became by Food, only food experiences. Then
Mm,
we added restaurants, and then
I
we
see.
added e-commerce. So step
I
by
see.
step, it came today. But from day one, we
Wow.
didn't start with everything.
Gotcha. Wow, that's crazy. So in terms of I guess, impact, what are some of the, I guess, KPIs or metrics that you or your company sort of keeps in mind as you measure your progress, your impact? Yeah.
So, as company's mission, we in Japan, there are like more than 90% of the restaurants still using phone reservations today. And
Oh, no way, 90%.
yes, actually,
Wow,
like
that's
in
crazy.
Japan, there are about 850,000 restaurants,
Right,
and restaurants you can reserve online is
right.
less than 50,000 maybe today.
What?
Wow, that
Yeah.
is crazy. Huh.
So
Wow.
that is a huge like problem. But there
Mm,
are actually a lot of companies have technology and trying to help restaurants with that. But
mm,
it's very challenging. So what we try to do is it is so hard to change Japanese restaurants. So we
mm,
try to adapt to their system and try to
mm,
connect the other 90% with travelers. So we are
mm.
trying to create technologies from our side. They still do what they do, but from our side, we
Right.
create technologies to connect travelers. For example, like they still want to get a phone reservation. What we
Mm,
do
mm, mm.
is foreigners can make online reservation on our website. Then the system get
Mm.
the reservation information, transform it to voice, and make a phone call to restaurant in Japanese automatically. So
Oh,
like
wow.
your online
Oh, that's
reservation
so
become a
smart.
phone call.
Wow.
That's
Oh,
so
that's
smart. So
Like
crazy.
yeah,
you're already doing this?
yes,
Really?
Wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
this is one of the things. Another thing right now we are doing is Japanese people, even though they don't use system, but they use everyday line. So what we are
Yeah.
gonna do is, for example, when you make an online reservation, restaurant will just get a one line message, and then because we don't know their availability, we just ask them, there's this reservation request, do you accept or do you reject? So they will just press the button online, and then reservation will be accepted. Like these kind of simple things, but we try to connect travelers. But there are also some restaurants don't like any of this, and for those we
Mm.
have concierge people, actually human, make a phone call manually to the restaurants. And even there are
Mm.
some restaurants we send fax for the reservation
Facts.
information. Yes.
So I went to a hotel once where the only way you could make a reservation was by writing a letter. And
Mm.
I found that so interesting because there was so much
Seriously.
friction that it became a buzz. It was actually like helping them to promote their brand because there was that much friction to make a reservation. So I
Wow.
find this so interesting that, of course, fax is still a thing,
Mm.
and just that many restaurants don't accept
Yes,
online
so for
bookings.
yeah, one like in if you go back to the initial question, the one of the KPI is like how many restaurants we can connect
Mm.
with travelers
Mm.
without a
Mm.
reservation system. This is one thing.
Gotcha.
Also, many of the travelers just go to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. So
Mm.
we actually work with local governments, private companies, and trying to create interesting experiences in other part of Japan. And we try to
Mm.
use those experiences as an attraction point to bring travelers to
Mm.
local areas.
I
So,
see.
like for example, bookings made outside of Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto is also another KPI.
In terms of the social impact part, Serkan, so
Mm.
you have this Food for Happiness
Yes.
program. Can you tell us a bit more about where that came from and what kind of program that is?
So, Food for Happiness program actually, I started from day one when I started this business. So, I always wanted to have a company contributing to society. Now we have this program that for every guest reserving a restaurant or booking an experience, we are donating 10 meals to children in developing countries. So you have food in Japan, children around the world also have food thanks to your reservation.
Wow, that's so cool. And are you working in specific countries in Asia, or whereabouts are
Mm.
you making those donations?
So we work with many different NGOs actually. We started from Cambodia, then we work some in Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, so South Africa, and currently we are working with one Japanese NGO. It's called Seibo Japan. They are working in Malawi. So we are donating to that NGO, and they are making donations in Malawi.
That's sorry. I mean, in terms of the customers that you have, they must have this feel-good sense when they make a booking because that's happening. But do you get a lot of feedback about that, or is it really mainly about the experience, and that's just a nice bonus? How does it feel?
To be honest, mostly people actually just booking for the experience and the restaurants. So occasionally we hear comments like, we really like your company because of this, etc. But many of the people also didn't even realize that we have that program.
Right. But in a way, that's like almost extremely powerful because it's like stealth impact, right? You're providing this great service and it's generating real impact. I mean, you've already delivered over 500,000 meals.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's actually just an interesting point, I think. But in terms of your journey so far, and I see you on Forbes and getting all these awards and clearly scaling and expanding. So I see the kind of the highlights reel of your company and your journey. But I'm sure there are also lots and lots of challenges. So would you be happy to share some of the main challenges you had to overcome to get here?
I mean, we started officially byfood.com in 2019 July. And then after operating 6-7 months, COVID.
Yeah.
Right? And then Japan's borders closed 2.5 years. So that was a huge challenge for us, right? We didn't have any customer 2.5 years after just starting the platform.
Wow.
But even though it was a huge challenge, I would say we did really good job. So during this period where we didn't have any customers, we focused on our other services. We started like consulting services for restaurants, local governments, etc. We focus on our media, like we have this Japan by Food YouTube channel or blog, etc. So at the end of this COVID period, we finished profitable.
Really?
Even though we didn't have any customer.
What? So hang on. So you started just essentially, let's say, 8 months before the beginning of COVID in Japan, which was roughly March of 2020.
Yeah.
And I remember this because I also started a new social enterprise in September of 2019 before COVID. So you're saying that you pivoted mid-COVID. You had no customers. No one was coming in. You rolled out consulting services. You developed your YouTube channel. You did all these other things that were outside of your core business. And you actually ended up profitable at the end of COVID.
That's true. Yeah.
That's mind-blowing. That's like really... I had no idea, but that's pretty mad.
Yeah, but now actually we continue those services. Then our business became now 2 different like department. One, we have the byFood business, and another one is solution and media business department.
I see. So you've actually diversified your revenue streams. Is that right? Before
that's
the
right.
main service was your platform, and now you have
Yeah.
YouTube, you have consulting, and all these other services too.
Yes, now this service is actually generating lots of profit. We use it to scale the platform.
That is really interesting. So I'm assuming now it's like it's easy. It's happy to to say that you've come this far and you've come out the other side of COVID in these positive light. But I imagine at the time it was extremely stressful. No one knew how long this would continue. But how did you manage to keep going during this time of uncertainty?
I mean, in the beginning, we were like, it is temporary. So we didn't think that it will take a long time.
Right.
and we just kept doing what we are doing. But after a few months, we realized that this is not temporary. This is gonna take a long time. And after deciding that, we really focus on cost cutting. So we opened our all expenses in one Excel sheet, and one by one, like we even like 5,000 yen we are spending for phones. Cut it, cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this. Like we really made costs really low. And then as the next step, we focus on how to generate revenue.
Yeah.
We can only see a few months like runway.
Yeah.
So at one point, like in our bank, it was only 5 million yen in total. But so from there, we started getting these projects. Luckily, like there was one event we joined and we pitched, and then there was some people doing government projects, and like in that meeting, I just mentioned that we also have video production, etc. So recently started, we are doing this kind of videos. Just casually, I mentioned about that. And then later, this company came to us and, hey, we have this huge government project and we need a company who can do video production. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we started there. And it has been like 6 years. We are doing the same project even today.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, how about on the flip side, like I'm sure, Robin can definitely sort of attest to months or periods when, cash was definitely, short on hand, as with many other entrepreneurs. But then on the flip side, like, was there a pivotal moment where just growth just kind of took off? Like, did it happen just post-COVID when people started coming back to Japan? I was wondering, if you could maybe share some success stories as well.
Yeah, actually, as soon as borders open, it's changed a lot. So, like, I don't know, like when it was October, I think, October 2022. So at that time, when the borders opened, we have maybe like 30,000 like website sessions, and we only have like 7, 8 employees, and like then it started because all the investments we made, like all the videos, all the blog posts we wrote, so now people started searching about them. So search volumes increased, organic traffic increased. So like now today we have about 450,000 website sessions, and we have 50 employees. So it is and we aim to have 100 employees by next year. So there is actually very huge demand. We are very slow in hiring. That's our problem. But it is quite growing very fast.
No, I think that's a good thing. I mean, you gotta hire right? And hiring is guesswork. Seriously, hiring is guesswork. But once you get to know somebody, you know. So I think you guys have a good strategy. Yeah, I think you guys have a good strategy there.
Our company, like all the communication and everything in English. So all the Japanese people needs to speak fluent English.
I see.
And so when you look at talented people bilingual in Japan, you only have the 3% of the market. And everyone is targeting those people. And if you are a startup, you are like competing with the huge corporations. So it's very difficult and time consuming to find right people.
I see. Actually, I have a quick question about that because, you also came to Japan as a foreign student and you experienced what it's like to study at a Japanese university. And I'm sure, you've had Japanese peers who were trying to learn, English. Also, on the flip side, for Japanese people to really, I guess, open up their horizons, want to travel more, especially the younger generation, people in their 20s and so on, and pick up foreign languages, because it was just really depressing to see some of the latest data that showed that Japanese students' interest in the outside world just kind of peaked in the 1990s, I believe, late 1980s or 1990s, and since then it's just been going down.
What I realize is that in other countries, university students are really hustling, really trying hard to develop themselves. They are doing a lot of internship. They are trying to learn languages. So, like in my case, when I was student, I was doing many things at the same time. Like I work at IBM. I work at this telecommunication company. I was working for an NGO. Like I was vice president. I was doing badminton, like university team captain, etc. Like many things. And I was trying to travel abroad, especially in Turkey. There are some European youth exchange projects. You just pay 30% of your flight ticket and you can go join these projects, etc. So I really challenge myself and try to develop myself. But in Japan, people are so safe, and that's also because there's a problem in Japanese corporate system. Internships don't exist. Like when I was student at IUJ, I joined 2 internships. They were so funny because I joined one consulting company internship, 1-day internship. So they call it internship. And another one, I did internship at JR East, 2 weeks internship. But during these 2 weeks, I just visit different departments and they explain how cool they are, what they are doing, etc. And that's it. Like you just listen. And I think Japanese system don't allow unpaid internships. So if someone is doing a business, working, company have to pay for the interns. So there are a lot of, actually we got a lot of internship requests from abroad as well. We cannot accommodate them because there are legal issues. So yeah, like I see like Japanese students, they do maybe arbeito, etc. But that's it. So I think they're too safe in Japan. Whereas in other countries, they have to fight for job.
That definitely makes sense. Yeah, it's just so unfortunate, right? With the whole education system where students are just so pressured to do well right up until high school, and then once they get into the right sort of universities, they just kind of take the back seat, right?
Yes, that's what I see.
So that is something that we need to change. When I say we, I mean like, Japanese society, but right.
Yeah, I'm really eager to know, Serkan. You've been through a lot. You just mentioned COVID and pivoting during this time. You've mentioned scaling to, I believe you said 50 employees. I mean, this is becoming a large company. I know you've raised funding as well from investors. There must be a lot of tough times and I'm assuming stress with this scaling of a company and the many challenges you face. But I'd be really interested to know, how do you deal with this stress? How do you maintain your balance as you go about this?
That is very difficult. So we have employees in Japan and abroad. So my business partner mainly focusing on legal, finance, fundraising, like back office, those things. And all the actual business operations, I am the one responsible. And so daytime, I work for Japan. And then in the evening, I work with the developers in other countries. Like most of them, they are in Turkey. We have 6-hour difference, etc.
Wow.
So it's a lot of work. And I always try to delegate, but in startup world, whenever I delegate something, suddenly there is a new thing coming. So it is it is
No. Yes.
never ending. So
Yep.
it's quite challenging in that sense. So I always try to make time for myself, but that is the biggest challenge. And recently, I also have a baby, so I try
Oh,
to create
congrats.
time for my
Congrats.
family. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Wow.
5 months old.
Wow.
Oh, amazing.
Oh,
5 months
congrats,
old. Oh,
Serkan.
Yeah,
crazy.
Amazing.
thank you. So,
Nice.
as much as possible, I spend time with my family,
Mm.
and that's where I little bit gain positive energy and then start working
Mm.
again.
Mm. Nice.
Mm.
Wow. Taking that point from a slightly different perspective, what keeps you motivated? What is
Um,
your main motivation to keep going?
yeah, so as the company vision, we like wherever you travel in the world and you wanna eat the local food in that country, we want people to use BuyFood platform in the long term. And considering that we have this Food for Happiness project, imagine
Yep.
a perfect world like millions of people use BuyFood every day. That means millions of meal donations we can make through our platform. Thinking about that makes me motivated.
So, Serkan, you must have grown in so many ways building this organization. You know, you just mentioned you're a recent father. You've just become a father for the first time. You've obviously learned a lot and grown a lot of skills during this journey. But if you had to think of one or two key learnings or one or two ways that you've grown since you've started BuyFood, what would they be?
First thing is like not only my own startup, but also my previous job. It was also startup. Even though I was not co-founder, I experienced that. So like together, both startup, I have one learning is that quality is always much better than quantity.
Mm.
So this startup previously I worked for, the guy was like really focusing on quantity. He said that if he doesn't have 1 million products, we cannot call the website e-commerce platform. Like all
Wow.
the whatever he has, he puts there, and then um, today that startup is that I mean that company is still going on, but that department is closed. So
Mm.
that was really a good learning for me in that company. Then now on BuyFood, we really focus on quantity. So whatever we do, like all the restaurants we select, all the contents we write, videos we
Mm,
create, we really focus on high quality
right,
content. So
Right.
that
Quality over
actually,
quantity. Yep.
yes,
Yep.
that makes us different. So now we have really good experiences in Japan, so that our competitors uh, want to sell our experiences on their website. So
Mm.
because of that now, like websites you may know, like if you are in this industry, there is like a Kulu, KK Viator, Get Your Guide, all these
yep.
websites selling by food experiences right now on their website.
Oh, amazing.
Mm.
I have a confession to make. So I run a sustainable tourism project on the side, and I've actually been recommending people do a buy food experience in Kesennuma in Miyagi Prefecture, and it's
Oh.
like I believe it's a meditation retreat in Kesennuma. So I was
Yeah.
looking at the website, and I love the way that you've gone kind of against this, or what I perceive to be against this mass tourism model, where it's highly customized. It's a very unique experience, and it really just reminded me of what you just shared with us today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just a quick sort of question that I had from my side was so you shared earlier about like scaling your company, and I think you guys have done an amazing job of overcoming COVID, a lack of inbound tourism, surviving up to this far. People usually say that there are three different phases when it comes to startup. There's the 0 to 1 phase, there's the 1 to 10, and then there's the 10 to 100, right?
Mhm.
And when it comes to, BuyFood, I was wondering, how did you deal with each of those transitory periods? When you
Mhm.
first started off, when you were just dealing with on your own, when you were dealing it with small teams, and then now this third phase that you're in, where you're now trying to create like a proper corporation, was there concepts that you kept in mind? Because I think that for a lot of social entrepreneurs, that's definitely something that they will eventually have to deal with further down the line. And, you're probably one of the largest companies that we've interviewed today, Robert and I. So it would be great if you could maybe share a little bit of your insights on that topic.
Mm. So 0 to 10 or 0 to 1 stage, we actually try to test many things with
Mm,
quite small budget. So
okay.
like from the beginning, like one person, I started with WordPress website that I just did
Ah,
myself, right?
right,
Like
right, right, right.
my total cost to start the business is $100, something like that. So
Wow.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
And also, since I don't have much money, like I mentioned in the beginning, I only had 500,000 yen. So
Yep, yep.
I try to utilize the resources abroad,
Mm,
specifically Philippines.
Mm.
So,
okay.
like if I did the same thing here, might be 10 times more expensive. So,
Yep.
like I used a development company in Turkey later stages, but the
Mm,
first stage with really small amount of money,
mm,
I try to do my best. So, for
brilliant.
example, even starting a company as a foreigner, you require 5 million yen capital
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
to get a business manager visa.
mm-hmm,
Since I didn't have that, like I just found a Turkish person who has a business here. Then
mm,
he helped me. I joined his company as full time, and then one department was like Tokyo by Food. So, so
mm,
that like I work for him and I didn't need to get paid that money, etc. So, like in the first stage, it was always like low cost, try different things, SEO rather than paid advertisements, like
yep.
those kind of things. And so slowly, like I started getting my first bookings, and I utilize a lot of Facebook groups, like expat groups, etc. Like those,
I
like
see.
continuous, like whatever free there, just
I
I was
see.
trying to do. And
Wow, you're
then
so resourceful.
Yeah.
I will say I am resourceful even today. Yeah.
Mm, mm.
So then in the second stage, actually, I merged my company with this another Japanese company called
Oh,
Tablecross. Yes.
oh, tablecloth.
Yes. So I
Right,
was
right,
doing
right.
food experiences and they were
Mm-hmm.
doing restaurant reservations. And both
Mm,
businesses were donating meals when they get booking. So
mm,
same concept, just one is restaurant, one is experiences. So we merged together. We started byfood.com. And then, of course, COVID happened, but from 1 to 10 stage, we, I think, in that stage, I will say partnerships become very important keyword
mm,
in that
mm,
stage.
mm,
So we try to work with many corporations,
mm.
like affiliate marketing with
Wow.
big businesses. I mean, like for example, when you think about inbound travel, there are like some medias that you would call like Japan Guide, Matcha,
Yeah.
Time Out Tokyo, Tokyo Chip or like all kind of businesses. We became partner with those, and then we really started focusing on our own media. So and try to create differentiation with media, because in this we are in OTA business, online travel agency. So in that business, competition is huge. Like this Klook, Get Your Guide, these companies have $500 million investment.
Wow.
So we are trying to compete with these companies. And so if we just basically do what they do, you will not win the game. So we always try to find differentiation in this stage. I think we had one main differentiation is that those businesses can only add whatever existing in the market to their platform. So in our case, we have restaurants and experiences. What we do is we use our restaurant network and create experiences in these restaurants that you cannot find anywhere else. Like, for example, there are a lot of sushi making classes. You can find many of them. But in our case, we create a sushi making class in a Michelin sushi restaurant that you cannot find anywhere else.
Wow.
Like this kind of ideas always we come up with and we suggest to our partners. We try to differentiate with our unique experiences, but at the same time, media part, like right now, more than 50% of our bookings come from organic traffic. We really focus on blog posts or like content, and at the same time, YouTube. Right now we have 164,000 subscribers today, and with those YouTube videos, we increase brand awareness, and actually those YouTube videos also become a revenue resource because so many Japanese restaurants, hotels, food businesses want to work with us. Like today, for example, one of the biggest partners we have is Asahi. Like,
interesting. Asahi, just for any listeners who's not familiar, is the beverage maker which largely makes lots of beer in Japan, and it's a very big company.
Now we are trying to raise money this summer to try this 10 to 100 stage.
I see. I see. We're gonna have to get you back on in a couple of years. And you're gonna have to share that part of the process with us. But thank you for that thorough answer, Serkan.
And Serkan, I'm gonna ask a slightly left field question, but how has becoming a father changed your perspective? Has it? If so, I'd be really curious to know more.
I think it's quite positive actually. So since this last 5 months, of course it is less sleep, but it is quite rewarding. Very happy. Like I am really looking forward to going back home, spending time with my baby. Overall, like I think it brought positivity to my life, and even like the job is very challenging. I have a stress relief environment at home, so it's quite nice so far.
That's incredible. Just as you're speaking, I can see you kind of glowing. So I see that you're a happy father.
Yeah. Amazing.
And going back to the insights or reflections, Serkan, if you were able to wave this magic wand and go through this whole journey again of building Tokyo byFood and then merging to create byFood and scaling as you have done, what would be one thing that you'd change, if any, and why?
I mean, there is not a major thing, but I'm questioning, for example, right now the e-commerce part. So our idea is that when people go back to their country, they will also buy the items that they ate in Japan from their
Oh.
country. So like you've been to a tea farm tour, you can buy tea from that tea farm when you are back. The idea sounds
Wow.
good,
Got it.
but actually in reality, so difficult. Cross-border business for food is impossible, like so difficult. Every country has so many restrictions, and those restrictions are changing every day. Like today, there is no database to know which products you can ship to which countries. So one by one, everything you have to research, and those are changing every day. And also shipping fees are so expensive. And like depending on the product, there is a limitation. Like you can ship alcohol up to a certain percentage, etc. Very tough. So during COVID time, we had time, so we spent our time to build this e-commerce function. We did really cool things. Again, like for example, it is very hard for Japanese businesses to create shipping slip. You have to go to EMS website, like Japan Post website, enter all this information one by one. It's so long form, like it's taking ages. So what we did is when you have an order on byFood, you just click one button, shipping slip automatically created and tracking code is automatically created. We did API integration with Japan Post in the background to make their life easier, etc. But in reality, very difficult business. I will still do it, but maybe not now.
Okay. So international shipping, a little bit challenging in some ways.
Very, like for food, very challenging.
For food. Okay. That's good to know. So that's a note to everyone listening here. And similarly, Serkan, as we head towards the end of our conversation, do you have any advice for aspiring changemakers? I mean, you've been there, you've done that, but is there something you would advise to anyone who wants to start their own thing?
It is always very challenging to take the first step. It is scary. I was scared because I am in a country that is not my home country. And I don't speak the language. So it was very challenging and scary, risky. But like when I see from my friends as well, that is the most difficult part. But when they take the first step, somehow things are happening. Like, of course, like some people might end up negatively, but you should take that first step. Like I think that is that having that courage is very, very important. And also another thing is networking is so important. Meeting the right people sometimes make the job 10 times easier. So like surrounding yourself also with those right people, good advisor, very, very important. I really saw the benefit of those things.
I love that.
Wow. I
So
love it.
magic of taking the first step and networking. Surround yourself by good mentors, peers, colleagues.
Yeah.
Fully agree with that.
And I mean, the whole reason why I got to meet Serkan a couple of years back is because, Robin provided a platform, a forum, a space, an event through Social Innovation Japan, right? So thank you, Robin, for doing that and allowing us to connect, because now that this is happening, it's all kind of coming back together, It's full circle.
Love it.
All right.
My pleasure.
So on that end, so as we come to a conclusion today, I wanted to ask Serkan, so what's next on the horizon for you? For you, I guess you personally, but also for byFood as well. Any sort of exciting projects or updates that you want to share with our listeners?
So our next stage will be hopefully expanding byFood globally. So
Nice.
at the end of this year, we are starting our global expansion trials.
Wow.
So the platform in the first stage, the platform will be multi-language, and then next stage it will be multi-country. And apart from that, we also created a company in Dubai. It is a little bit random, but
Wow.
we started a video production company in Dubai and working with
Whoa.
there is a YouTube channel you can check, Dubai byFood. Sorry, recently we changed
Definitely.
it. We recently changed it to UAE byFood to cover a
UAE
little
by
bit
food. All right.
other parts of UAE. Yeah, so we will probably build companies in the areas that we think strategical, but also
Nice.
the platform will be global in the long term.
Cool, cool. And you came to the right place because, I'm sure, or at least Robin and I hope that we have many listeners from around the world listening to our podcast. So hopefully some of them will reach out to you, want to connect, and want to help you with the expansion efforts, your global expansion efforts. Yeah. All right. So, if somebody is, interested in learning more about, BioFood, like how can they reach out to you? I know you mentioned that you guys have a great YouTube channel, but if you could, share some of the other social media platforms and whatnot, that would be great.
Yeah, so since we are doing food, like basically we are in every social media channel.
Nice,
So
nice.
they can just search Japan by Food. They will find us.
Okay,
But mainly we are active on YouTube and
okay,
Instagram. Yeah,
okay. Are
so
there any
yeah.
are there any videos of you dancing on TikTok?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, not yet.
That's the
Okay,
next big
okay,
project,
gotcha.
the next step, right?
Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
not yet.
Nice, nice. Cool, cool. All right, Serkan. Well, on that note, I want to just really thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely, extremely busy day as a founder of a startup that's really scaling at rapid speed right now, for taking this whole hour with Robin and I today. Like, seriously, thank you so much. Especially because your baby is a couple months old. It's a really crucial time for you as a father as well. So we really, really appreciate that. Man, I learned a lot from you today, but yeah, if I were to like highlight one or two things, Robin, I would say what Serkan said, earlier about making sure you focus on, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
I think that really resonated with me because I tend to be somebody who has that, shiny object syndrome. I'm always like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, and then I end up doing 100 other things and burning out. So making sure I hone down on just a few things and do a great job at doing that, That's something that I definitely need to remind myself of. How about you, Robin?
Yeah, I've seen Serkan's journey for many, I guess for 4 or 5 years now is when we first connected, pre-COVID. And it's just been amazing to see how much you've scaled and the impact you're making. So it's just, more than anything, it's been really nice to catch up with you. And to also learn that you've become a father, which is probably the most exciting news we can have. But yeah, definitely what you shared about the magic of taking that first step. I couldn't agree more. When you start taking action, all these things that you couldn't imagine start happening and things start to work out in your favor. So I really like that point. And secondly, Serkan, what you said about your pivot during COVID, that is incredibly impressive to see those opportunities, to manage to have the foresight to come up with all these different revenue streams, which ultimately helped you even more build your brand. So for me, it's been a really interesting conversation. And thank you again for your time, Serkan.
No, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Right. So to all of our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and share. We'll be back with more stories of impact very, very soon. So remember, coffee friends, the power to create change is in your hands. So keep leading the way, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Let's keep brewing change one cup of coffee at a time.
See you next time.